It was like a bit of time. So yeah, that's also a downfall. Is like the thought that these shows are only for um, kids, one, teenage boys, two, and not like an audience who grew up with things like Gargoyles or I'm trying to think of something else that was done by Eric Weinstein that was related, but like these more serialized storytelling that is like villain of the day comes and they beat them up and then they're thrown in space and we get a next one and we do that over and over again.
Like Sailor Moon. And I love Sailor Moon. You know that.
Do you? Do you love?
I do love me some Sailor
Like
Moon.
it's so.
But no, that is definitely, you've got Monster of the Week, plot. Monster of the Week, plot. No, but Young Justice, and this is my nitpicky thing about Young Justice that I had to get over, is I find Young Justice is more the follow-up in spirit to the original Teen Titans, because it keeps kind of the seriousness in. But as a comic reader, the Young Justice team that they bring out is more akin to the 2000s, early 2000s Jeff Johns Teen Titans team, which is a great team and it's wonderful. But I was just like, what about my Young Justice? Because I loved the Young Justice books that were like Sand and Arrowette, and they eventually brought in a lot of those characters to Young Justice. But I mean, like the Batman or the Robin in Young Justice was Tim Drake, and in in the comic Young Justice, but in the Young Justice cartoon, it's Dick Grayson, which is fine. So I had to get over that. So when you didn't read comics, you had no problem.
I feel like they're just always going to be pushing Robins to like the next step anyway, and like whichever is the new Robin, because now Damian is like in Teen Titans, and so they're like, that is like, okay, we'll have a new Robin, and we have to make him a center contingent. First of all, okay, let's just also just agree that we all hate Damian Wayne. Cool.
I'm sorry.
I know, we don't have to agree.
Hot take.
I'm not a fan.
I fell in love with him in Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn has the best iteration of every character,
Because
but outside of that, I hate it.
because they voiced him like an 8-year-old kid, because that is what he is. And all the other ones, he's always sounded like 12, 14, 15.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
no, straight up, and Harley, him sounding like an 8-year-old is what sold me entirely on the show.
Yeah, I thought it was just gonna be the one instance of like, he's just annoying. Pause before we go into that. So what I have on the screen is probably very, very small, but like in terms of text. But just kind of like an example of how multiple people, at least on Reddit, which cannot always be trusted, but at least you know it's a fan, have ordered like the ways to read this looks like Son of Batman, Justice League, or this is New 52, right? Okay, yeah.
Damien is making two.
And that's like, these are movies. So 17 movies to get like one storyline, and that's just from like this newest since the 2020. So I think they listed them like down here.
Oh yeah.
And that's just movies outside of things that again we've been watching, like the Harley Quinn the Harley Quinn show that is very comical but does tie in almost like all the main villains, a handful of the Justice League heroes, but definitely gives more insight into that with its own sort of like comic genius.
It's
So
been
it's a lot of
popular
content.
enough to, a lot of those aspects have been pulled into the comics universe. And in fact, there is a comic series called the Eat Bang Kill Tour that takes place between seasons 1 and 2 or 2 and 3.
Sweet, see? So that's from cartoon to comic. Nice.
But I mean, Harley Quinn was first created in Batman the Animated Series. Her first comic appearance is actually Batman Adventures issue 12.
So in my history with Harley Quinn has been like, okay, I remember Batman Animated Series. She was really cool. Did like the gymnast thing, loved it. Also, take a moment to say R.I.P. to Arlene, because that was a very recent passing. The voice of the original Harley Quinn. That hey, Mr. J, like that voice. So yeah, Puddin'. So that was the voice now is I can't remember her name, but it's the chick from Haley.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It's not Tara Strong. Tara Strong did the ones in the animated, right? The Arkham Cities, I believe.
And okay, okay. Yeah, this is like a kind of, I don't know that, Kaylee, does any other iteration of it outside of the current show. So I'm sure she was just right in the right place during like a meeting, Big Bang Theory, and was like, "Hey, you do the thing." It works out pretty well. I know that she's probably not everyone's favorite, but past that though, the other voices in it are pretty incredible.
Oh my god, the casting for that show is again what sold me. Damien sounding like an 8-year-old. You've got
Alan Tudyk, period.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
everything. You've got God, what is it? Rachel Dratch as Nora. I mean, it's ridiculous. Christopher Maloney as Gordon is one of my top 10 castings of all time. You know, Christopher Maloney is the lead detective on SVU. So like him as just drunk, sad Gordon is one of my favorites.
Harley Quinn does probably the saddest Gordon, like
Oh no, he's
the
perfection.
saddest. Ron Funches as King Shark.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh,
is
I
comedic
love that
gold.
man.
So, and again, we don't want to make this like just a Harley Quinn panel, like we had support for that, but of course we all really love that. And it's helpful if you aren't into DC to watch this and get like an idea of what you may be more interested in seeing. So even some of the heroes, like when Wonder Woman shows up, you're just like, oh snap, but she's just a little crazy. You know, like you get instances of that. They like throw like
It opens
a
the wider
ranger.
world to you. It lets you in on some of these jokes, like you'll hear Nightwing will drop on the Bloodhaven joke. And it's like, well, what's Bloodhaven? Oh, well, that's, you know, that leads into Bell Rev and some Suicide Squad, and now you're moving into whole different things. No, it's a good gateway show.
I would say, in my particular journey, Young Justice, so Harley Quinn show, Young Justice, I think Young Justice also gave really cool, visibility to like black female characters in DC, because I did not know like about Rocket, I mean I knew about Bumblebee, but I didn't know about Rocket, and I think there's probably one more that I'm
I'm
forgetting.
not sure if they bring in Jessica Cruz eventually, or,
Big Sen, I didn't know about Big Sen, so really it was like Rocket I was surprised about.
No, it's just, they had solid representation. They brought in Jaime Reyes,
Right.
like Cyborg's a member, and they didn't, and Cassandra Cain shows up, like, they don't shy away from, bringing everybody into it, which is really, really important. I really think a lot of people lose the sight that representation matters so much.
Yeah, it really does. And the character, it's been like I said, there's a lot of content. I really don't know how comic book readers do it, if they have to like read and then maintain all of that. Maybe it's easier. But with cartoons, like it's a lot just for DC. So forgive me if I'm like, tell me that name again, and you guys are like, yay, the wiki of the room. Spectrum, or the one with the rainbow power that, and it's a later in the season, but
Oh, Halo,
Halo, thank you.
the non-binary.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Halo, yeah,
Finds
pronouns
with
they
the
them,
mother box.
is a character that finds with the mother box and is presented like just straight up blonde woman in the comics. And they did they were at a job. They are looking into understanding themselves and their powers, but also presenting like sexually and their gender identity. And it's just a really great story arc of their religion. Like they're questioning everything about themselves, and it's just overall wonderful design and story arc to see. That is a character I never would have even considered or paid attention to, or like really known or been able to highlight. So sometimes I think when they do make a change of what their character design looks like, it does bring more light to that character, like Caleb. And it makes you more invested in what is actually happening, whether their origin story is exactly the same or has a little bit of a spin based off of something that culturally they may be going through. So that I just really enjoyed.
I have to say, like, I felt like when I went back to start rewatching Young Justice, since I watched it when I was younger, like, I felt like I had gotten too old for it. I felt like I just completely aged out. But by the end, I was so invested in these kids and, like, so bummed that it's over. But it just, like, they took such time to put depth into each character and to put reasons behind it and to really, to find ways to relate to everyone. And I really applaud that because I was not expecting to like it again as much as I did.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a time skip, so you can start with like them as like kind of younger teens and that process, but then a lot of the characters like get pregnant and have kids, and they have to deal with like very hard adult decisions about
Going to college.
going to college, raising their children, getting married themselves, like making sure their kids are like healthy, not trying to spoil a lot of things. So I think those are really good points. But it's just something that I feel like people who grew up watching cartoons and following these characters could really relate to, because some of us are parents or are becoming parents or are going through a next change in our life. So we have a more serialized way of looking at that, and not just the I have to, do we fall in love? Do I love this character? Do I kill these people? Or no one kills anybody. But like, do I,
And rip their minds apart, trying to get to the knowledge I need, or
right? Like, do we just punch, bang, boom? Okay, we save Arkham again, and then we start over with like somebody else who wants to, take out Arkham. So this is
evolving for.
yeah. So yeah, that's a good one. What?
We talked about Superman.
We can talk about Superman. Which one?
Himbo Superman.
Which one?
No, my adventures with Superman.
Oh, okay.
I have enjoyed the changes they've made. I've enjoyed like the leaning hard into the anime. Like, it is delightful.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, some of this is working a little bit backwards. So my life with Superman is probably one of the, if not the newest Superman story.
I want to say before that, maybe the Lois and Clark TV show.
Okay.
That was a spinoff of Supergirl, I believe. I don't.
Live action.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
know.
We don't live action, gross. Real people do. But yeah, in terms of animated series, this one focuses specifically on. It looks like. Oh my gosh, like Voltron, like the new Voltron. And I think it's the same studio. I'm pretty sure it's the same studio that worked on Voltron.
It's the same studio.
And Avatar Studio.
You
I'll
mentioned
pull
it.
it up
I
because you guys should watch it. They make really good stuff. But it is very sort of anime style. They worked on Korra, but they didn't work on the original Avatar, so it's that studio, that style of animation. They continue with the concept of Jimmy Olsen being black.
I love it.
Which is cool, except to my fiance who's redheaded, and I've said this in many other panels, the redhead erasure is real. I'm okay because I'm black, but it's like they just are like, they started in Supergirl, and then it's continued to My Life with Superman, and I just also watched the Super Sons, and he's also black in Super Sons. So they're like, yep, nope, no more redhead Jimmy, it's this guy.
Okay, side personal note, my sister, Strawberry Blonde, my nephew is straight up ginger, full on. And she told me that it is a real thing. Like, he was getting teased mercilessly in high school for his straight up ginger hair. I was like, oh, poor baby.
But that means, like, don't just get rid of your redheaded characters in cartoons. Like, I love the visibility of more black people and brown people. I love that a lot. But like, I don't know, take a blonde person and just go out to
X-Men 97 is coming back. X-Men 97 is coming back. We're getting Jean Grey.
Oh no, they'll never change Jean Grey. If they did, I would be very surprised if anyone ever changed Jean Grey's design from like a redhead. That would be. But yeah, Studio Mir. So and of course, you could call this anime because everyone is Korra anime, is Avatar anime, is this and that anime. And in Japan, yes, everything's anime. Sorry, I'm closing that. That's the debate's over. Japan calls everything anime. But from an American standpoint, no, it was made in Korea. It was mostly like directed and produced in Korea. But I think it's definitely us, like American concept taking that could be a different panel. They also worked on like Dota, Dragon's Blood. So anything that Netflix calls anime, most likely also came from Studio Mir or one of those. But it's has anyone who has not seen My Life with Superman? My Adventure with Superman. Thank you. All right, we're gonna play the opening and like you just tell me how you feel
Yes, please.
about this. And there's a transformation sequence that it's a slight spoiler, but it's going to be Clark Kent becomes Superman.
Delightful.
Superman a magical girl? Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, spoilers. Clark Kent is Superman. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, guys.
So if you came in here not knowing that,
Rip that band-aid off.
okay. It's like they don't know there's panels down here. like that party meme, it's like they don't know there's 10 of us. Oh no, this is a guy talking about it. I just want the guy. This is probably it. It's a short. So.
But he is absolutely delightful.
He's very like,
He is endearing.
yeah, Ralph's music.
Well, I mean, you had the light from the kid to the adult. You had the teen standing there with the fire things, looking up the big robot. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Super.
I actually
super
don't know what like that almost seems kind of generationally like out of place as well though. But I know what like music people listen to now, so it kind of seems like that 90s or early 2000s sort of rock opening, and I'm like, but I'm an adult now, so
Yeah, I've given up.
maybe dubstep would have been cooler. I don't know.
No, absolutely not. No. Ska. I have heard from your fiance that Sky defines who he is as a person.
He never turns back on stuff. Our Superman opening transformation sequence. One of my friends, I think it is Ginger, and they're not here right now, said that their friend actually worked on that opening. So I'm not really like SHITing on it. I just think that it's actually pretty good and really awesome if it's like someone, any creator that you know that's like doing the best and getting their stuff out there, like that's a win. So
Always,
yeah.
always.
So we joke, but we're also like, good job though.
That's the thing you always have to get really with criticisms, even animation, comics, anything, like, we can sit here and say, oh, I don't like this about it, I don't like that about it. End of the day, they're doing it. Like, if you don't like it, get out there and do what you like. Don't, you know, I mean, and not everything's for everybody. That's,
I don't know if I'm gonna find it as easy as this, I know. But we promise it's there, like. Oh, you have it saved? Okay, well, we're looking for that. That is really funny and exciting, but transformation sequences and things, especially male transformation sequences, are awesome. If you watch the new He-Man, that also has a like male transformation sequence because Prince Adam does like this whole thing, and there's a lot of thigh. So you should definitely watch it. Applause. And there's also another DC, so there may be more. Now I'm gonna look for them, but there's another DC animated movie with transformation sequences, and it's Justice League versus Teen Titans, which is also a very misleading title of a movie, because you think like, they're gonna fight for like reasons. The reason is like possession. Sorry, like I'm just gonna spoil that part. I won't say who they're possessed by, but it's like they're not just fighting. Like it's not like the Avengers Civil War, because you're like, no, Superman would definitely kick Damien in the face. Like there's no way that there would be like there's no winning there. But it's usually possession and
Damien Brad, but check your Facebook.
Ginger. This is Ginger. This is the person who I said knows the guy that did the opening.
Yeah, oh no, his name is Kyle Droop. He has a band called Kyle Droop and Heretics. He's like the nicest guy. We were in marching band together in high school. I'm just like,
Sorry.
Yes.
Again, I'm not assuming it. Absolutely loved it.
Well, hey, it's you send it to me? Did you send it to? There was a bot pretending to be me right before DragonCon. And I have a work account. Yes.
So, yes, so he does have a magical girl transformation, watched it with my husband, and my husband is very long-suffering boyfriend has watched all 200 episodes of Sailor Moon with me in Japanese multiple times. So whilst watching, he was giving his criticisms. He's like, "Here, a little bit more? Come on, you do
Yeah.
better."
It was really short. Like it could have been much
Oh, that is
longer.
delightful.
But it is definitely delightful. But yeah, magical transformation sequences. No, I didn't. I just sent an email to myself that was blank. Yay. But yeah, the Young Justice versus, or no, Teen Titans versus Justice League and or vice versa. Very, like all the Teen Titans do a transformation, like that I've never seen that was a thing that they had ever done ever before. And it was kind of, they also play like DDR, like it's interesting to see again this demographic of stuff that these consistently young teens slash kids that are Teen Titans are doing, that are keeping up with like the generations of what modern like kids and teens are doing. Like, oh, let's go to a carnival. Oh, okay, no, let's play DDR at the carnival. Oh, that sounds like something a 2000s teenager would do. And it's hilarious because it's again like this like stoic Damien against Garfield, and them trying to like compete, but also we're all becoming friends, like, you know, getting that hard outer exterior thought and dealing with our trauma together. So I just found it more like, it was comical, but it was also cute, but it was also like, okay, it's like a little bit cringy, but you know, we're going through this to get to the action part of it, and that whole system is fun to watch. Okay, now we're done. Haha, the whole YouTube is right there, just save, oh, see, oh, we go.
With those little ones.
I gave it like a, very beginning of it. It has the car.
Again,
They could have given like a
Stop
little
that.
bit more.
Jazz
They gave
hands.
a little curl, you know. They could have like had it like a little define gravity. You know, something could have happened there. But just adorable. 46,000 people love this. Oh, they viewed it. Absolutely. Check that out.
In Sailor Moon Crystal, they do add a tuxedo Phantasma transformation
Nobody
scene.
cares about Tuxedo Mask.
Yes, we do.
That person cares.
Listen, Seiya or GTFO.
I'm salty about characters. I'm just like, I don't like this guy, I don't like this guy.
My hard, that is my nobody loves that. Like Seiya and Usagi, that's it.
Is this the one? Okay, hold on. Teen Titans Transform. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Oh wow. Oh, this is like Sailor Moon.
Maybe someone working at Studio Nerd. I thought Fiverr did this, but like,
Uh-oh.
maybe.
These four.
I'm good. I got it all on camera.
Not in this one. I don't.
I got it all on camera.
I don't think Robin gets one. Even Mike. No.
Nightwing or GTFO.
Yeah,
I
know.
think I
There's no
watched that.
Nightwing, okay, my issue, and again, I'm all about body positivity. I think that's great. I think Starfire should dress however she wants to. I, if I had children, would feel a little weird dropping my teenage prepubescent boy off at her daycare center, though. Just saying. Just saying. The boob window is very prominent, and she didn't have Oh, she did have a skirt on. She does have a skirt.
Mhm.
on.
A lot
Very
of butt
respectful.
shots for something called
Listen.
Teen
Yeah.
I
Titans.
also
Yeah.
don't think
The
that we
Blue
should have
Window
a
is
skirt.
one of my most hated things because they created this really new cool character called Molly Miracle. It's really neat. Look at her. She's got a hoodie. Boob window. Yeah. What?
Can't see her face, but can identify the boobs, I guess. I don't know.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah, so, but again, great character. They keep Starfire through for this, but you can see the obvious. Chris argued that it wasn't necessarily like an age difference, that maybe she was still a teen, she was just teaching, and she was just a taller person or taller alien. But I'm like, no, I think she just may be the teacher, but I also think that, I don't know, again, I can't like say too much without you thinking like, wow, what a prude you are, Renee. I'm not.
Starfire.
Like,
Well, she is an alien.
Starfire's.
She could be 50 years by now.
This is
Who
true,
knows
this is
how-
true.
Who knows how old Tamaranians get? It's like a dog. One year.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
50 by the time she's 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be 200 years.
She and Donna Troy are the characters that you have to be so
I
careful
mean, he's
with.
still a
Because of like that time flux of age
I
situation.
don't even know, but like Starfire especially because so much of her powers come from emotion and empathy and love that in comics New 52 kind of took advantage of that, and instead of kind of empowering her with that, sharing love, it kind of turned grody.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, they took a female character and wrote weird, gross things about them?
Yeah, and it's
Or they sexualized them?
well, and it's frustrating because there's a way to show that she can have that love and show that love without it being like, so, but, I mean, but.
That's why we
you have
need
to-
more women writing for women, and I don't know who the current writer is for some of the characters, but again, with every time there's a new, writers that come on board or new iterations, new support teams for them, it's just kind of like, but let's make sure we're paying attention to the fact that, some of these characters we're keeping age down for a certain reason, or they have previously been a certain age, and we are moving, like, we're adjusting this time flux or that time flux, but also like, what's going on culturally with different, people of, in different genders, hetero or, queer gender norms that we need to make sure we're relating that to these characters. So yeah, that's always something fun to try to pay attention to. I'm trying to think of anything else from this list. So I have watched, I can't go through like everything, like this. I have watched Flashpoint Paradox. I think if you haven't watched anything DC or you're still like, where do I start? Specifically with this like New 52 of animation, Flashpoint is like, I think everyone agrees across forums and things, like the best place to start because it restarts like that universe of why the next things you're gonna watch from that series or from the series is different than things that happen in like Batman animated series and Justice League. And by different, I mean usually it's like origin and meet up stories, not necessarily like they're still gonna fight the same villains. Like they're gonna still show up.
I always kind of look at the animation, honestly, I look at it like Elseworld stories. I look at them like, okay, so this doesn't really need to tie into anything else. It's just like, yeah, it's nice in continuity, and then maybe you watch Under the Red Hood, and then 2 movies later, Red Hood comes up. All right, great, you know who it is. That's nice. But I always kind of look at it more like, in general, just like, oh, you can just kind of pick this movie and watch it, and if it ties in, great. But at this point, I feel like so many of the DC characters, they've done so much coverage and so many series and so much, they're all kind of ubiquitous. And you get, like, if I have to see another Batman origin story with pearls, I'm done. I'm out.
Oh,
Except Teen Titans Go, that one wins.
Yeah.
as long as you're not
that was
affecting
the thing that kind
anybody.
of threw me off about a lot of stuff is like there's always an origin story. That's why I didn't watch DC
I'm trying to
movies,
get their,
live action, because
I'm trying to
anytime
get
they
their
want to talk about Batman,
faces
you have
like the
you
people
have
sit
to
down
know his
is kinda
parents died.
hard.
It's like you didn't know his parents died, and then you have to watch it happen again, and then that's going to be a big part of this whole thing. It's like we know who Batman is, we know who Superman is, we know from Smallville. What else could we be talking about at this point? Some of the other characters' origin stories aren't so focused on. One that I was starting, I think it was Justice League War, maybe, that had like the Green Lantern origin story and
Which lantern?
I don't know. Okay, I think it was Hal Jordan.
Plays Hal? Okay, okay.
I was trying to think, because I was trying to like get through a lot, and I was like, well, let me watch this part and this part and this part. But it's also when I think Hal Jordan and Batman first meet Superman. Okay, and that is War.
Yeah, none of them knew each other.
Yeah. So like those are interesting. I want to know more about that. I don't need to know. And Superman, I think, is like it's before 10. A not cool guy. In that, like, he presents pretty like haughty, and it's the direction of totally opposite of My Adventures with Superman, where he's like cool college kid, hunk, and like, you know, all of that. So that is cool because you do get different perspectives of how Superman or how different characters act. Batman's always the same, just broody, sad.
I liked him in Justice League Ruby, I thought that was fun.
Justice League versus Ruby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So there is a
Justice League versus Ruby.
I don't know if it's versus, but it's like and.
It's Ruby cross.
Yeah, and it's the.
Like Hunter x Hunter, Ruby x Justice League.
Yeah,
It sounded like
Part
that.
one, so I'm assuming there's a part two.
Yeah, and if anyone is not familiar with Ruby, so Ruby is do you wanna
I was not familiar in the least
Okay.
with Ruby when I did this.
Ruby is a long-standing anime animated series done by started by Monty years ago, he got his claim to fame from Dead Fantasy, which is just endless fight scenes between Final Fantasy characters and dead or alive characters. Ruby came to be, and it's like a fairy tale / fighting story, and has its own very deep lore, and all the characters have not only amazing fighting styles with weapons that are multifaceted. So also
It's also a gun.
Yeah, oh yeah, a couple of them have guns.
they have like everything is basically also a gun.
But it's
so,
all kind of tied into their story and their personalities and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you could watch Ruby separately. It has nothing to do with DC at all. Like, it's completely different. I think the studio, it's Monty studio. Like, it's a standalone.
Well, they did.
Strategic. Oh yeah.
Well, they did a Justice League Ruby comic book before they did this,
Oh,
and now
yeah.
they're just doing the second one.
Okay. So there's a comic, which of course I didn't read. Okay, I was not down with
Yeah,
that.
because local comic shop.
But I would buy it from a local comic book shop. Yay! Like Infinite Realities. Okay. I trust. It was really cool to. One of the things that's so cool though about Ruby is the action sequences though. So I think the story was really good as well. They talk about the general gist is the Justice League gets transported and
Isekai.
like Hawaii-fied into, they get isekai and Hawaii into being teenagers in the Ruby universe. And so they kind of like wake up and have to kind of slightly refigure out their powers and are fighting alongside these Ruby characters for like question mark baddie that has affected them somehow, while also fighting the Ruby like demons and things. They talk about aspects of like Batman, and they tie them in so that they match races and sort of the fighting techniques of Remnant, which is the land of Ruby. They're like their world. There are Faunus, which are part of animal people. Batman becomes a Faunus. He has actual
Vixen.
bat wings. Vixen is in it. She gets a little cute foxtail. Someone else is a fawn. No, I think they're going to do Faunus. Yeah. Superman and Wonder Woman are like having trouble adjusting to their powers as teenagers.
Because they don't have the same power sets.
Yeah.
I mean, like, real talk, again, this is Superman always relies on power sets. Wonder Woman they've always had all this nigh on invulnerability, and now it's like, yeah. Yeah, she's gotta like visualize them though,
She has
that's.
to visualize the
yeah.
lasso of her shield and use it. The Superman is basically fly.
Yeah. He has a
But
hammer.
yeah, he can't be in the shade, he has to be in the sun. He
Yeah,
can't
so
be in
the sun
shade.
is different, so they tie into all of that, like, he's like, oh, the sun, maybe this isn't
And
like
he's also
perfect.
he's also kind of, he doesn't really be a teenager.
But it's
Is
him.
he ever a teenager?
Well, Batman has the same problem, is he's like, I never really had a childhood like this where I had friends, and I mean, was about to like stay in Remnant, like he was really about that life. He was like, wow, being a teenager is cool. It got kind of weird, so I was like, well, Bruce, you're like actually an adult, so I don't know.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, but
He was kinda into Weiss a little more than I was comfortable with.
yeah, I still ship it though. But only within that universe where he is canonically a teenager.
Yeah, yeah.
but
Still.
the animation doesn't, does not disappoint. Like, the crossover is great, the animation is wonderful. They have these very long, like, in-depth fight scenes where they collaborate with each other. And I think Jessica, Green Lantern, I don't know Jessica's last name, but the Green Lantern Jessica,
Yeah, she's a,
yeah, let's call her Green Lantern Jessica. She's having a hard time
Yeah.
with, is it? Yes, it's Jessica. Jessica Green Lantern. That's her official canon name. But she feels sort of powerless because she can't find her ring, and she's talking to one of the other characters in RWBY that doesn't have like his powers or support. So they really tie it in great. And again, the visibility of the fact that Vixen is there, Cyborg is there. They're just like, okay, we have the black girl, the black guy. We have the Blake, who I'm going to just say is Spanish. Like they like kind of really made sure it's multifaceted. And I appreciate that. And it was just a really, really good watch. And they need to hurry up and make the second part because that's what I want.
I think the second part comes out, it was, October?
Cool.
Like late October is coming out. It's opposite now, so it's the Ruby cast going to the Justice League world.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that they age them up a bit and don't screw them as they are. It's the opposite. Justice League
And there has,
is small.
yeah, there's been a time jump in Ruby. Yeah.
I wanna see a 25-year-old game.
Don't we all? Yes.
Although Blake doesn't have her ears anymore, which kind of deserves a her boyfriend. The way her mom.
Jessica Cruz.
Jessica Cruz. Okay, it's not Jessica Green Lantern, it's Jessica Cruz. Which I was not familiar with that Green Lantern. So again, I knew like only up to a certain point. And speaking of Green Lantern, and so it's kind of nice learning about the villain from that I had to look up as well. So there's a lot of additional research you can go into if you're like, okay, I want to know more about these characters because the story is different than what you've been usually seeing. It's not just like, is Apocalypse a Disney, DC, or is Apocalypse?
Apocalypse is the X-Men character?
Yeah, who am I thinking that looks like?
Darkseid.
Darkseid.
Darkseid
He
is-
lives in Apocalypse.
Oh, by the way, okay, Young Justice, that was making me so happy. I was all about the fourth world stuff. I was here for it.
The gods.
Yeah, but it made me sad. Like, the fact that they dropped all the Apocalypse, like, I was here for that. And granted, period. Besides the point. Going back to
I think
this.
it's pretty on point because it's animated.
Oh,
It's
it's
like a good representation of that arc of that show.
But, you suggested the Justice League Ruby for me. And I was, like I said, I was a little nervous because I haven't done Ruby. I'm painfully old and don't get new comics or new cartoons or animation as much as I should. In fact, I just saw Belle the other day.
Belle, the anime?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I did.
No, I'm not faulting you. That one is sort of like a deep cut of things you even watch. Like it's very artsy and
Oh, okay,
pretty. So
cool.
you're good that you just saw it.
Yeah. But you did mention the action direction, and I was wildly impressed by that. Like, it really did. It was some of the best animated direction for like fight scenes I've seen in a minute.
Yeah, I actually don't know as someone who watches a lot of shows, a lot of cartoons, outside of maybe like whoever directed Arcane, I think that the Monte direction and style has maintained being like top tier, cause it's almost like they use game mechanics in order to make these very smooth, seamless and very creative, fight sequences. So Monty is actually no longer even with us. He passed away some years ago. But you can watch literally his entire legacy from before he was picked up by Rooster Teeth to again Justice League X Ruby. It's RWBY. That's how you spell it. And you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's not like I said. It looks kind of like Little Kitty, but it's not like a Teen Titans Go sort of way. It is actually very well done. Let's see, anything else on this list that I know that I've seen? Super Sons, has anybody watched Super Sons?
Yes.
Okay, I liked it. I thought it was really cute, except Damien. But like, you know,
I gotta find the right Damien story. Okay, so the Grant Morrison Batman and Robin that takes place after Battle of the Cowl is when Dick Grayson picks up the mantle as Batman,
mhm.
and so Damien's acting as Robin, and they are so good together. You'll like it.
We'll see.
I'll make it.
It's my skeptical face.
I will shove my Omnivy in your fiance's
Whoa.
hand.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
I have giant
That
boobs.
just sounded very,
Yeah, I know.
okay, sorry.
Omnivy.
What did you think of Red Sun?
Red Sun? I did not get a chance
I've
to
not got
actually
Red Sun
watch
yet.
it, but I love the book. I love Elseworld stories, man. You give me something like completely wacky, and I'm here for it. Dark Knights of Steel, that has been rad. You know, All-Star Batman and Robin. I love it. Hot take, one of my favorites. But just Elseworlds are just so much fun because you can play with the characters and the character concepts and.
Sun? S-U-N?
S-O-N.
S-O-N.
Okay,
Red
I was
Sun.
like,
So, Red Sun, the
So I mean, it's
concept is
Superman.
Superman instead of landing in Kansas, lands in communist Russia.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's amazing. It is like Edward Superman, but it is very good.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out.
Injustice. Injustice was another one of those Elseworlds that like blew my socks off. Normally video game to comic, like representations are awful. Just straight out bad. Like I've tried, not good. Injustice went on for 5 years, like in comic form. Like they kept those characters fascinating. And I really would like to watch the animated. I need to sit down and watch the animated, but like Tom Taylor killed it on Injustice. I blew me away.
I asked if it was going to depress me, and Chris said yes, so I have
It
not
will.
watched it yet. But it was definitely very, I think we either had a whole panel on it or it's topic of discussion in previous years, and they showed a trailer, and I was like, oh snap, like, Joker's going to die. But the fact that you say it lasts for 5 years, that's another reason that, like, DC
Well,
is always weird. To me, it's like, how do they continue this story when there's such overpowered characters, and they could literally just, like,
So
kill the
I
bad guys?
don't know if the movie will go on that long, but
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, well, that's just it. You get your bands or your teams. It's Civil War, right? You get your OP here, your OP there. You're always gonna fight it out. At the end of the day, it comes down to fascism versus freedom.
You're talking about Red Sun
With-
now?
yeah, with-
Injustice.
Injustice.
Oh, okay.
Because upshot of Injustice is Joker kills Lois. Lois is pregnant, so Superman kills Joker and decides, oh well, I'm just doing it now. No, I'm fixing this. Y'all had your chance.
Oh. Okay, so he does kill Joker.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoilers.
Right.
Okay, but
You played the video game, you know that.
I thought Injustice video game was a fighting game.
It
And they kill
But-
each
but-
they
but
kill
there's
each
a
other.
story. But there's
Okay. I remember when it came out, I was just like, but they're gonna put Superman against Joker, he's going to die.
Which
Like,
is,
that's right.
again, why I was really impressed that the comics were good.
Okay, well, yes.
Y'all talk about the Killing Joke yet?
I will not watch The Killing
I
Joke.
want to drop that bomb on the.
I also
No, will not.
don't think I'm
Absolutely
gonna
refuse.
watch The Killing
Like,
Joke.
I admit Bruce Timm has done some amazing things. He's created some great characters. His shipping of Barbara and Bruce is upsetting. The abortion in Batman Beyond comics, because, you know, that happened with Bruce and Barbara. No, that's his son's girlfriend. No. And they added in the Killing Joke because they said it gave the, I did a 2-minute video with Mason back when it came out.
Oh.
Like, I went on a rant.
I love
but-
Mason rants.
Yeah, so, no, I ranted, not Mason.
Oh, was basically just recording it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was great. But no,
It beat
it
you
was
up.
for character development. No. Barbara doesn't need character
She's
development.
pretty strong and an
Yeah.
amazing character.
While I admit that The Killing Joke is a very, very, very important book to the mythos, it is very upsetting, and it is very dark, and we did not need to add anything to that. And I can't do that. The Bruce and Babs, it's grody. The only thing, and I even think it's a little bit grody in
You don't
Batman
ship
Lego.
Bub Bruce?
Huh?
Bub Bruce is their ship name, I just made it up.
Oh, it's grody, I don't care.
Bub Bruce.
No, it's awful.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'd heard is that that aspect makes it. I haven't heard anything memorable or good about it, like how Serge just recommended the Red Sun, and I'm like, what? Communist Russia? Like, no, it's good. Like, I get the opposite when people recommend The Killing Joke. They're like, I don't know. So, but eventually, I'll probably watch it.
If it's, read it, please don't watch it.
I'm already gonna tell you I'm not gonna read it.
Well, okay, the art's not even that good. So like, I tried to watch Hush. Hush is one of my favorite Batman stories. Hush has all your heroes, it's got all your villains, you get everybody in Hush. Everybody. And the greatest selling point was, it was all Jim Lee art. It was one of the most beautiful books ever made, and they changed every bit of that, and I was like, nope.
Okay, I'll read it. Fine.
That's okay.
Yeah. Vic, oh, you and then Vixen.
Make sure you read Heart of Hush too. That's a good one too.
So what?
Heart of Hush.
Heart of Hush.
Heart of
That's
Hush.
another-
Is that similar to Batman Hush?
It's the sequel.
Like the, okay, is that,
Heart of Hush comes after Hush.
okay.
And the story's great. I hadn't gotten a chance to watch it. The art,
I guarantee you I will get through this entire list by next year. Like that's like it is a main goal. The content I ingested pre this convention was a mix of other things for different panels as well, and the stuff that I liked. But this is really important because as I'm learning just how connected the comics, not how connected it is to the comics, some of the story aspects that my preconceived notion of DC was not favorable until I started watching some of this animated series. So I will get through it, and maybe we'll do like a part 2 in a coming year.
Oh yeah, we can do watch parties.
We cannot technically do
You
an
and I can.
advertised watch. Oh, here. Oh, with
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
Yeah. I was like,
right
here.
Come on now.
I mean, if things get shown on these projectors, I don't know. It just happens. But like,
No, we can show.
yes. I guess one of the last ones I will talk on because I'm pretty sure we started at 7, right?
Oh yeah, no, we got like
Okay.
2 minutes.
Oh, sorry, Vixen. No, I want to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to Vixen.
Vixen.
Yeah, I want to know if y'all have watched the animated Vixen movie and what y'all thought of it.
I have not, and I hate it because I love the character so much. She's so good and doesn't get near the respect she should.
Yeah, that same. I think I wanted to explore again more of the overall universe, even though it can be taken out of context and out of order. I just didn't have like, yes, I love that she was black and she was getting the visibility, but I was still like, but what am I going to be watching? Like, what is actually happening? So, but now I will. Like, trust me, it's going to happen because she is so incredible. And again, the fact that they put her in the fact that they're taking the effort and they put her in the Ruby crossover made it like, okay, they want to make sure she's being seen and this visibility is there. So, yes. It did or did not?
But that's,
Okay.
I was gonna say, but part 1 or 2. Anyway.
Wait, are we talking about the Vixen
Oh,
one? Okay,
okay,
Vixen.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, wonderful. I'm going to, like I said, it's part of the whole list outside of these 17/36 hours of just New 52 content that is right here. I did watch the whatever the one that was where Wonder Woman looks like her kind of old-fashioned. Chris, you're gonna have to help me out because I don't remember that one. Old-fashioned Wonder Woman.
New Frontier.
New Frontiers.
Oh, you watched Darwin Cook New Frontier?
Yeah, so again, out of
yeah.
order. So New Frontiers is really good. I like when they show Wonder Woman,
It's all like Golden Age Silver Age stuff.
yeah, looking like an Amazon. Like I appreciate, again, all body types are awesome and valid and however she looks, she's a very strong character, but I do really like when they bulk her up to be more Amazonian. And then the one that was trending on TikTok, the movie where with the clip of Black Canary, where she's singing that guy to death. Which one was that? They go back in time. I know I'm looking at like my guy over here. I'm like, what was I watching? Tell me the
It's the World War II, like the JSA World War II one.
Justice Society World War II.
Yeah.
Oh, Justice Society, yeah,
Yeah.
because Justice Society is an old one.
Highly recommend that one because Black Canary doesn't get enough love as well or visibility from my standpoint. Just the femme presentation of not just Wonder Woman and not just some of like the main heroines, and the story is very good. It has that great vintage aesthetic because World War II. There is time travel. I don't love that, but that's a completely different theme of mine that I don't love.
I was gonna say, man, how you watching DC?
Everything is in its own little silo. That's how, like, these stories can be enjoyed individually in, like, a silo of, you know, you're just now watching this, like, the Disney thing, you're watching this episode of a Justice League comic, this DC thing. And, but I just really love that. And if you haven't seen the funny TikTok of, them voicing over, I think it's Mary J. Blige over Canary singing. It's super hilarious, but also you're like, but what am I watching? And that is Justice Society. Oh yeah, I'll leave you guys with that as we close up to the 8 o'clock, so that you can.
So have you seen Justice League Unlimited?
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, that's got to be your first DC. Like if you're
That's
watching
what, so
DC.
I watched it. Like the original animated series and the Justice League was from my childhood. Like it was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
And I could watch it there, and my brain is like, this is serialized, but not in like the Greg Weisman, you're gonna get like something out of it like that. So I have not gone and done a rewatch is the answer to that question. But eventually, again, more hours of time. I mean, this whole year I could probably watch nothing but DC and still not be done.
I would recommend that as your primer for DC before any of the other movies.
Chris,
'cause,
I'm stealing your fiance.
Okay, I was just gonna say, we have the DVDs.
We have
at home.
DVDs of all these things too. So in case so that's where you can watch them like through Max.
What's your address for reasons?
So please, no.
I'll DM you.
But if you can find the DVD of stuff, because streaming tends to betray us if you are looking for a lot of it, they just like to take it off any time. You know, finding some of the DVDs or finding the old ways to watch it, that's sort of helpful. So I have both ways. Let's see. What else? And I feel like TikTok's gonna have the best way to show it. We're gonna use this person. What is happening? The lights are on.
You call that a scream?
He took out that shark. That shark did not win. So, awesome. So thank you for sticking around. I hope that you got some really good information and or opinions and or just like an entertaining time out of the panel. Again, I'm Renee. I watch a lot of cartoons. I'm an animation track director. And
I'm Jamie. I also watch cartoons, but read more comics.
and you.
Do a lot of comics programming at RoboCon and co-own a store in Tucker for comics, Infinite Realities.
Yes. Yes. So if you are local and or before you leave and go unlocal, it's in Tucker, so it's the opposite direction of the airport, but it is in Georgia. And it's ITP.
I forgot my cards.
Infinite Realities. I'll say it one more time. You're not running any Facebook ads. Infinite Realities. So if they start running Facebook ads, you're going to start getting the ads for it. We're about 2 miles down from North Lake Mall. We're across from Tucker High School.
Might I have seen your comic shop on a Disney Plus show?
You might have seen my comic shop on the Disney Plus show Just Beyond. In the last episode.
They're famous. You could be in there too.
Hey, and if you watch IDW, you saw mine. I was in the crowd. How are you?